From BigHMW.com, World Headquarters at Bishop Park, this is the Atari Report, 5200 edition with Ray Jackson.
Good evening, everybody. On this edition of the Atari Report, we take a look back at a classic that was supposed to have been the original Pac-Man game for the 5200, Asteroids, for the Atari 5200 Super System.
Yes, Asteroids. That timeless classic from Atari that goes all the way back to 1979. Well, this was the 1982 version of Asteroids, which was simply converted from the Atari home computer version, the 8-bit computer version, and presented for the 5200. But as you can see here, the controls are kind of, off a little bit. They're off-center a little bit. And I had trouble controlling the ship here, of course, to my liking, because sometimes it would spin out of control, sometimes it would activate the shields or something like that, and as you can see, sometimes it's like oversensitive, and the centering on here, the non-centering controllers, it's a bit off-center, and whoever programmed the controls to be like this ought to be handed their own head, shall we say. Because I gotta tell you, the gameplay is great. The graphics are pretty good, but the thing is, though, the controlling system, it just doesn't work out too well. I mean, sometimes you may activate the shield inadvertently, or you may thrust inadvertently, and it could cost you a ship when you need to get out of a situation every once in a while. But yes, Asteroids was pretty good for a game. I know there are better versions out there, like Meteorites from Electro Concepts that came out in 1986. But the thing is that this was Asteroids, which was supposed to be the Pac-Man game for the Atari 5200. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even a Pac-Man game, even though the Asteroids box in which it was supposed to have come in was displayed on promotional pamphlets for the Atari 5200 that were issued along with the system and were all sorts of cartridges. But yes, Asteroids never came out, and now we know why, basically. Asteroids is a very good game. I mean, I tell you that. But I mean, the controls could be better, but it's a great game. I gotta tell you, the graphics may not be up to par, but they're pretty good for what Asteroids was back in the day. And the controls are pretty good, if you could figure out the centering on the non-centering controller, or if you have the Atari home computer 8-bit version, which I highly recommend. And as you can see here, it's a challenge. The asteroids are going all over the place, they're flying all over the place, and your job is to destroy them, obviously, before being destroyed yourself. And they do veer off, unlike the 2600 version, where they just keep going up and down in straight lines and things like that, with slightly veering off a little bit here and there. Asteroids, for the 8-bit version, is tougher than you think, and definitely a good game, but the thing is, though, the controllers themselves kind of take that out of play. I mean, if you can figure out the centering of the non-centering stick, then good luck. Because I think you're going to be in for a lot of trouble. And I knew I was in a lot of trouble right there when I had my final life going and I had to put up with this mess. But yes, that's what you had to put up with. This was tougher than the 2600 version of Asteroids, which, by the way, was a cakewalk compared to this.
Well, as you can see with Asteroids, controls are a little bit oversensitive and off-center with the standard analog control. Of course, I was able to find the centering position pretty well after getting used to it, but definitely disappointing and would have been a terrible Pac-Man game. In a way, I'm glad that they did put in Super Breakout as the Pac-Man game instead of this and just scrubbing its release altogether. Only later on we found out about it, and now we know why it was scrubbed. But also, of course, in later years, Pac-Man would become available for the 5200 and would become the Pac-Man game in place of Super Breakout. But Asteroids, well, I'm sure you'd love it better on the Atari 8-bit than you would on this. Even though the graphics are right up there with the Atari 8-bit home computer versions, but still, nevertheless, controls are a bit oversensitive and the centering is a little bit off-center. So basically, with this game, well, I'm glad there's another variation of it called Meteorites, which is by far better, and I have played both, and I do have both. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me at the Atari Report at hotmail.com. I read every letter and I answer every letter, of course, so feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, if you want to download this game or media rights, you go to the link down below, click on, and it'll take you to AtariH.com and the forums for the 5200 forums, and you'll be able to download either or both for you to try out for your 5200 emulator or for your Atari Max multi-card or everything else like that. Well, that's game over for this edition of the Atari Report. So for all of us here at BigHMW.com World Headquarters, I'm Ray Jackson, wishing you good gaming and good night.